Emily from the Energy Boutique with your Ascension Forecast for Sunday, December 12th to Saturday, December 18th. So last week we had a quote unquote quiet period. I think the guides are very interestingly funny. They think they're funny anyways. Yes, we did get this little adjustment period, a little bit of a calmer energy. Of course, we just came out of the new moon solar eclipse energy that activated a whole lot. First of all, the 1212 code activations that we are definitely going to be feeling on Sunday. We also had our quote unquote new year begin with that eclipse energy. This is going to carry us into 2022. We are definitely at an accelerated rate. We are on fast forward, and we had this week to kind of get our bearings. Yes, Sag season blasted off. Many of us felt that huge push forward. We gained a little bit of clarity. Although things are frustrating, although things are a little bit still tedious, we are seeing how the pieces are coming together. We had our first quarter moon in Pisces, and if you're listening Friday evening, it's happening tonight. Since the moon has moved into Pisces on Wednesday, we're definitely having a lot more interesting dream content. We're given hints and clues where it is that the unification is happening, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a bit. And basically, I want to give you an analogy. Yes, it's bridging the gap between what it is that we've been experiencing over this past week, and it's going to take us into what it is that we'll be experiencing this week. The analogy is getting on a plane. Okay, so many times there's a lot of feelings when we're getting on a plane. Why? Because we could be excited, we could be sad, we could be apprehensive. We're all kind of, prepared, we're getting situated. Then they let us know over the sound system that we're ready to take off. There's a lot of anticipation there. And as the plane kind of, gets in position in order to take off, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of restlessness. And, we're all in a state of prayer, whether you think about it or not. We're all in a state of prayer that everything goes right, everything goes fine, that we're safe, that we're protected, that we are going to end our journey with a lot of success. But when that plane starts ramping up in order to actually leave that runway, there's a lot of physical sensations. There's a lot of emotions that get triggered. And until we get up to altitude, we are feeling the turbulence of actually launching, actually taking off. Where we're currently at in the ascension process, where we're currently at in the Great Awakening, we are definitely leaving that landing strip, but we're not quite in the flight path where those calmer energies will actually help us simmer down. So we are going to have a lot of inner turbulence. We're going to have a lot of external turbulence as we move through this week. And it's all to try and get on the right flight path. We are rising above. We are seeing the greater, grander plan as we look out of those little plane windows. We're gaining perspective. We're gaining clarity. We're gaining trust in the process. And we have to trust our pilot, our higher selves, to get us to where it is that we need to be. So this week, we have the 1212 portal activation. The 1212 portal activation was technically activated under the new moon in Sag, that solar eclipse energy, because there were a lot of 12s, a lot of 12-degree alignments. There were a lot of numerological factors that kind of gave us an early peek, an early preview on what the 1212 activation portal is going to mean for us. So, of course, this is triggering us in our Merkaba, in our light field, right? We are unifying our mind, body, and soul. We are tapping in to the unity Christ consciousness. Why? Because we're anticipating the solstice on the 21st. This is the reset. We're still in harvest mode, okay? The good and the bad energy forces are still very much feeding off of whatever energy we're tapping into until the reset button gets triggered on the 21st. That is why holiday seasons trigger the kind of emotions in which it does. And I'm not even going to get into the whole fact that Christmas is a fraud and Christmas is a capitalistic, opportunity for the bigger, greater, grander governments and, stores and big corporations to make a buck. Okay. Because if you did your Bible study, you'd know that, Jesus wasn't born on Christmas anyways. And not to get totally occult on you, but Christmas itself is actually more of a dark force energy harvesting situation than anything else. So those good vibes are feeding into a darker force energy. Those bad vibes are feeding into a darker force energy. And when you awaken to what Christmas is actually set up to be for both good and bad energies, we get a little bit of perspective on how it is that we can rein our emotions and energy in to stay grounded, to not give any kind of energy to any kind of force other than ourselves, staying grounded, focusing on our own power. This, again, the 1212 code activations are triggering this in order for us to be unified, mind, body, and soul, to be grounded and stable as we kind of wrap up Sag season and as we jump into Capricorn season with the solstice energy that gets us down to the nitty-gritty of building some bigger, brighter, brand new foundations for us to stabilize on. So the 1212 portal, like all the other portal activations, bringing in high frequencies, high vibrations, high energy light codes. This is definitely going to have effect on our physical bodies. We'll talk about that in just a sec. This week, we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our anger, and aggression, stepping down from his throne in Scorpio energy and moving into Sag. Now, let me tell you, this is going to be quite a shift. Mars is a fire energy. Sag is a fire energy. There's all kinds of acting out impulses without thinking of the consequences. Sag, although has the best, most meaningful intent, of course, we lack direction, we lack focus, we're all over the place. And with that kind of rageful, passionate, intense energy surging through our bodies, it's not going to be so good for us if we don't have control over ourselves. Again, we've been talking last week, this is a test in our energy management. We're definitely going to get that lesson smack dab in our face when Mars moves into Sag. On the same day, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and how it is that we're communicating ourselves. Mercury is moving out of Sag, which is going to be good because we've had some big ideas. We've had some rapid thinking. We've been all over the place, scatterbrained and speaking out without a filter and causing drama where there doesn't need to be. We have Mercury moving into Capricorn. Now, this is going to ground us out. This is going to put the tunnel vision on for us to bring some of those great ideas into manifestation, into fruition. Capricorn is the builder, manifester, creator energy of the zodiac, and we get a lot more logical and practical with the plans and the strategy that we have to implement in order to bring some of these great ideas and inspirations that we've had while Mercury's been in Sag into our physical realms. We're going to talk about a little bit about mind control and manifesting here in just a sec as well. Now, we're building this week. We got a lot going on so far. We're building towards the full moon in Gemini. Okay. On the 18th to 19th, depending on where it is that you're at in the world, we'll cover that in a bit as well. This is our last full moon of 2021. And what's interesting about it is the eclipse energies, because the true nodes now are kind of, wrapping up their life lessons on that Sag and Gemini axis before moving on to the Taurus and Scorpio axis early 2022. This full moon, although it isn't an eclipse, it is in Gemini. We are wrapping up, really solidifying in our mental plane, rewriting the program of all the life lessons that we've had to learn over the last 18 months. And we're shedding all of the overly non-important information that we were once stuck to, that because of our last 18 months of experience, we're now able to see what needs to stay, what needs to go. We're able to see where we can logically and practically use the new information to open our minds to new ways of doing things, new ways of expressing ourselves, and get rid of the gunk that is holding us too tightly to old thoughts, old ideas, old emotions, old behaviors. So that's going to be quite a doozy as well. And not that I want to get too ahead of myself, because we'll cover this next week, but December 19th and moving into that, into next, not this week coming, but next week, it's going to be a banger of a week. Why? Well, that full moon, like I said, is on the 18th, on the 19th, depending on where it is that you're at in the world. So that in itself, full moon Gemini, big deal, right? We have Venus going retrograde on the 19th, on the same day that Chiron, the wounded healer planetoid, is coming out of a retrograde and going direct. Now, this is only hours, literally one day, before we hit that solstice reset, where we usher in Capricorn season. Let me just tell you, December is a very transformative month. If you haven't listened to December's energy forecast yet, please go do so. Even if you have, please go listen to it again. Refresh yourself. Even still, go listen to the Astro Tarot forecasts for your zodiac sign, for your rising, for your sun sign, for your moon sign. If you've listened to them already, great. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate the love, the support. But I put these out and I'm reminding you to listen to this again so that you can be in perfect alignment with the energies to take advantage to all of these astro events that are meant to help align you with the path in which you're supposed to be pursuing in 2022. So please, please, please take the time to invest in yourself and set yourself up for success instead of failure. So with that being said, that was quite an intro, right? We're 12 minutes in. We just covered what it is that we can expect for the week. It is going to be a doozy. I do recommend that you pay attention very carefully to the energy forecast that I put out this week. They are going to be, I try to be as detailed as possible each and every day that I do these forecasts. But these are going to be key indicators on why you're going to feel torn apart this week. The reason why we feel torn apart, especially as we're in this accelerated manifestation state, the universe has pressed fast forward on us. The reason why we literally feel like we're being torn apart under velocity, under pressure, under whatever it is, influence that you feel that you're being ripped into, is because the old world and the new world are being prepared and prepped for the final detachment, which, word on the astral plane is coming on the 21st. This is essentially like what we've been going through this awakening process. And I mean, yes, the Great Awakening definitely started in 2019, I would say. The precursor was 2018, but if you actually want to go back to when it began in the cosmos, we're going back to 2012. Okay, the Mayans were not wrong. We're wrong for the Gregorian calendar. Their time was right on. That essentially was when the Earth ended. Because after that particular time in 2012, Mother Earth, Gaia herself, decided, you know what, I'm not going out like this. I'm going to see if I can amp myself up, if I can revive myself, if I can bring myself back from death. And ever since 2012, she has been actively trying to raise her vibration and frequency. That is why we are having the awakening. We reached that point in 2019 where she was, okay, there's a pulse. We got that pulse back, right? That's where the Schumann Resonance comes in. That measures the Earth's pulse. So 2019, there was a revival. She's awake. She's got a fighting chance. We're on the rise. That's why in 2020, we had this huge activation. Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, all of these planets got together early 2020, January to be exact. This is when the Great Awakening happened. Now, everything that you're seeing on this Earth plane connected to the Great Pandemic, that is the earthly story that us human beings need in order to understand what has already been fought for, initiated, solidified in the astral realms. Okay, so the war has already been won out there in the cosmos. Everything that we are seeing here on this earthly realm needs to play out the way that it's playing out in order for the war here on the earthly realm to be won just like it already has been won in the astral realm. Okay? We still have to anticipate the great solar flash, which many people could say is going to happen anytime now. I personally think it's probably going to be between, around that 2025 mark. I'm actually working on a long-term astrology forecast to take us right into 2030. Hopefully I'll get that out before 2022. I am working on some forecasts for 2022 as well. I am a great procrastinator as well, so let's hope that it comes out at a reasonable time. And I'm really trying to up my game to have things out a little bit more timely. But I digress, okay? The reason why all of this is happening is because the Great Awakening has to happen here on the earthly realm to get our vibrations up to match Mother Earth, Gaia herself, who brought herself back from the dead essentially in 2019. All of these ascension symptoms, this whole ascension process is for the awakened ones, us. If you're listening to this, obviously you're the awakened one, you're a light worker, you're a starseed. We have agreed to come here to hold the line, to hold the grid, okay? To anchor in the energies, not only from the cosmos, not only from other realms, but to transmute it through our physical form here in our physical realms and unify mind, body, and soul. So that is what this 1212 portal is doing. It's activating our Merkaba field. It's activating our light bodies. We are now leaning heart-led, soul-led, purpose-led with unity, Christ, consciousness, okay? This is a push, guys. This is a push. We've been on the battlefield. Many of us just standing there crying because we don't even know why the hell we signed up to be these freaking warriors in the first place. We've been holding our armor. We've been holding our swords for so freaking long that now, our arms are sore, our legs are sore. We're just exhausted. We've been given the green light, go ahead to charge. And I feel like the last leg of 2021 is us screaming on the top of our lungs as we lunge forward into battle, okay? And again, the battle has already been won in the astral realms, but we have to see the fallout here in this earth plane. That's just what we're doing now. That's why you need to have the faith. That's why you can't feed in to these negative narratives, these propaganda schemes, okay? This is the dark force energies agenda to keep people asleep, to keep them in a state of fear. Why? Because they feed off of fear. The light force energies feed off of love. The dark force energies feed off of fear. That's why there's horror films. That's why this whole earthly construct has been kind of planned to create fear, to create doubt, to push us against one another, to create division, to create anger. All of those lower vibrational frequencies are what the dark force energies feed off of. When you have this realization, you then step into power of recognizing where it is that having emotional intelligence and emotional control can help stop feeding these dark force energies, especially with the power, the energy that us light workers actually have, and start pouring in to the light. My goodness, there are more of us awakened and activated now than there ever has been, okay? This earthly experiment, we've never made it this far before. This is unprecedented times, okay? The experiment, which Earth is, has never reached this particular point where this many light workers have awakened and been activated to fight the good fight. And we sure as hell are in a fight. This is a spiritual war like no other. Thankfully, there's more people awakened to this particular concept now than there was over the last 12 years that many of us, including myself, have been just a freak show, standing alone, standing in the dark, preaching all of this stuff that nobody understood. I cannot tell you how happy I am to finally have you all awakened, standing beside me, unified in our energy, in our efforts. Because it has been a very, very long, dark, lonely road. And now here we are on the battlefield, linking arms, screaming from our throat chakras, from our souls on all levels, all dimensions, that we are charging ahead. And we have already won. So take that into consideration. Okay, before I jump into the Ascension symptoms, I'm on one today, guys, 20 minutes in, holy crap, and I'm still talking about, all of this fluff. Okay, a couple of things before I jump into the Ascension symptoms. First of all, thank you guys so much for all the love that you have sent me. As many of you know, I was having a hell of a hard time with my health last week. All the love, all the vibes, all the prayers, all the intent, I turned a corner very quickly. Now I'm still struggling. I think many of us are. Again, dark force energy's way of trying to keep us suppressed from actually standing in our power. That's why we have to fight through the pain and the suffering and the not so good thoughts and feelings and physical symptoms in order to show up, okay? You can't take a day off when you're a warrior. You got to show up. And I want to thank you all for sending that love to me. This just proves, and I want you to understand this, when all of us kind of have the same intent and we all focus our energy on one thing, change happens very quick, people. That's why it's so important to unify our focus, our intent, our goal, especially on New Earth. Okay, free from the fear, from the pain, from the suffering that the dark force energies have created in this matrix that we are all under here in the earth plane. The matrix is a code. The code is a confine which we have to live in. And when we awaken to the fact that we are caught up in a fear-based system, that literally we are nothing but energy conductors and activators for the good and bad forces to feed off of, we bust ourselves out of the matrix. We can rewrite that coding. This is what this whole, enlightenment process is, what this whole ascension process is wakening up to what it is that we have been written in as soul slaves in this earthly plane and how to break free from that. Okay, that's why it's such a pain in the ass. That's why we struggle. That's why we feel constantly that we can't take it anymore, because we are warriors here in order to hold the freaking vibration, people. We are a frequency that cannot be disrupted. We cannot be bent. We cannot be broken. We can only be transformed. And we are transforming at such an accelerated rate that those darker force energies are absolutely terrified because they're about to starve, okay? When you cut every single human being off from feeling fear, the dark force energies starve. That's what we want to do. We want to starve them out, okay? That's why we have to lean all the way into love. And that love starts with loving yourself. You want to make a great change in the world? Love yourself. You want to be the one that changes the world? Deal with your trauma, right? Trauma can only exist when we are at odds with our own experience. Embrace it. So many people talking about killing the ego. No, you do not want to kill the ego. You want to keep the ego in check, but you don't want to kill your ego. Your ego is what makes you survive in this earthly avatar. This is about balance and awareness and integration. We don't want to kill either side. We need both good and bad to be alive and well in us. There is just much power from negative forces as there is in light forces. It is our responsibility to control that. That is what this healing journey is all about. So, I know I'm on a horrible rant, but I want to thank you for your continued love and support, for all the love you sent my way. I am feeling better. I hope you're starting to feel better too. I'm also going to put a request out there, and I don't normally do this because I actually am not caught up on likes and shares and numbers and goals and whatever, but I want to throw something out there. I would love it if I could reach 3,000 subscribers by the time we enter into 2022. And I have a lot of reasons for that. First of all, the 3 is a divine number, okay? 3 is also communication. That's what I'm here doing. I'm trying to speak into you, the wisdom, the knowledge that is already in you that just needs to be activated by a higher source. I'm trying to remind you of your power. 3 rules over the mental plane. I am trying to break us free of the conditioning in which we've all been conditioned under in this freaking matrix system that was meant to keep us as basically food for the darker force energies. 3 is an important number. It would mean the world to me if I could reach 3,000 subscribers by 2022. So please make sure, if you haven't already, that you're subscribed to this channel. If you have another platform that you're sharing this information on, please put the call out there for people to subscribe to this channel so we can get more like-minded people focusing on the right intentions, the right goals, the right kind of energy, so we can all unify moving into 2022. Because let me tell you, it's a year of building. It's a year of creation. It's a year of stability. It's a year of unification with like-minded people, and nothing would make me happier than to be able to reach that goal. And you know what? I absolutely know that people are going to show up. Those that need to connect with me, those that need to connect with this community, always show up. It's a divine plan. It's a divine agreement that I have with my higher ups, but I just wanted to speak it into existence because this week we have to be very focused on our words, what it is that we are bringing into reality. And I would like to request to bring into reality that I hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of 2021 so that we can start 2022 off with an amazing foundation for us to link up mind, body, and soul and get this freaking party started. Okay, the Ascension symptoms for this week. First of all, jacked up energy. If you can't tell by my energy, I'm pretty jacked up, right? We're all a little bit hyper. We're feeling this overwhelming energy, and of course it can manifest as anger and frustration, but many of us are just jacked up. We're happy, we're excited, we might not even have a reason to be, but we're all amped up. We are on the verge of a manic episode. Again, I've been talking how Sag energy is a little bit manic because it's undirected energy, right? So we're feeling this in our mental planes for sure, and especially with Mercury moving out of Sag and into Capricorn, we only have a couple of days left realistically to have all of those windows pop wide open, all of those tabs open. Where's the music playing from? We don't know. But there's a whole lot of activity going on in the mental plane, and this is adding to our jacked up, hypersensitive, hyperstimulated state. We have Mars ruling over our physical energy this week, okay? Moving out of Scorpio, which is intuitive and emotional and transformative in our inner realm, now moving into Sag, a fire energy. Now, our sights are set very high. Our perspective, very big. Like I talked about, this is fire on fire energy. We want to manifest this in an excitable way. Likely, we're going to have some very serious times of frustration and anger, okay? The excitement, again, can go, there's a very thin line between like passion and anger, right? And we are definitely dabbling on this line this week. Now, 'tis the season, right? This is a very, very divinely scripted time in the calendar to evoke all kinds of different emotions. Again, we're still in energy harvest scenario up until the reset on the 21st. We have to be mindful of how it is that we're managing our energy and how we're allowing this manic, excitable energy to manifest within us. Want to give you another analogy because people say that I give really good analogies and y'all seem to really like them. So let me throw this one at you and see how you feel about it. You ever have a very super hyperactive dog? Right? Can go very, very playful, high excitement, and then all of a sudden you hit that red line where it turns aggressive. That is a lack of energy management, a lack of recognizing where the danger zone is. We all have that within us too. And this week, we're definitely going to be illuminated to where it is we have to boss up and be a little bit more diligent on managing our energy. So with the typical Ascension symptoms, and I apologize, guys. Sometimes I feel like I'm super repetitive. It's like every week, like, oh, there's going to be head pressure. Oh, there's going to be sinus pressure. Oh, I feel monotonous a lot of the time, but most of the time, the monotony comes from the fact that there is a solid set of Ascension symptoms right? The flu-like symptoms, like the head pressure, all the things I just mentioned, those are normal symptoms. So sometimes I have to kind of repeat myself in order to remind us that there's going to be certain times in our week where some of these symptoms are going to be a little bit more dominant than other times. Because of this 12-12 portal activation coming in, the crown, the head pressure, headaches, the popping, we talked about, and I got some really good descriptive words last week from you all about like the popping and clicking sensation in our brain, and how I kind of wanted to think that was like proof that we were rewriting our neural pathways and updating our operating system. Love the feedback you guys give, so that's amazing. But our crown is receiving a lot of information that resolves in head pressure, in headaches, in the popping, in the big head sensation. You ever walk around feeling like a bobblehead, right? Your head is way bigger than your body. This week, especially surrounding the days around the 12th, most in particular, we're definitely going to feel a lot more crown activations. This comes with a lot of confusion. Why? Because the confusion has to happen before the clarity can come. Sometimes we need absolute chaos to kind of ensue inside of our mental plane, totally disassociate us, discombobulate us, to prepare us for the insight, the clarity, the inspiration that is going to come after the fog clears. This is definitely happening for us. We are gaining more clarity now. More puzzle pieces are clicking together. It is a beautiful thing, but it comes from a place of confusion. Now the ears, yes, we've been having muffled sensation in our ears, but I want to take you back to the plane analogy. When you're in a plane and you're about to take off and the pressure is so much that your ears pop and then you spend the whole flight trying to unpop them. Well, that is what is going to take place this week. And we're hearing those beeping sounds again. We're hearing those high-pitched ringing sounds again. And let me put you on to something wild. The loudest sound that we're going to hear this week is silence. That's right. I paused for a dramatic effect again. You guys thought that was entertaining last time. I thought maybe I'd throw it at you again a second time and really wear it out. But yes, silence is loud. Silence is overwhelming. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in our inner monologue, we don't shut the F up. And sometimes when our higher self actually does shut the F up, we're like, damn, girl, where'd you go? Right? Where are you at? Hello? Is there anybody here? Oh my goodness, I'm alone. Oh my goodness, this is quiet. This is nice. And that lasts for 2 seconds. And then you're like, oh my God, this is eerie. I need the voices back. I need the chatter back. I need the stimulation back. The silence is too much for me. You're definitely going to experience that this week. So I want to talk about the central nervous system. As you know, anytime that the Uranian energy is on point, we get a blast of electricity coming in from the cosmos. It jolts us. It opens our mind. It creates confusion. And also creates a new impulse of energy going throughout our bodies. This leads to restlessness. It leads to anxiety. It leads to heart palpitations in our physical form. Now, on the metaphysical form, this is a zap of energy to try and clear away the blockages that are alive and well in our physical form, preventing the new light codes from actually integrating into our new bodily system. So we want to be mindful of the jolts of energy, the jolts of electricity. Maybe every single thing that you're touching, you're getting a shock from. Notice where the jolts of electricity, the high-pitched energy frequencies, the anxiety, the restlessness is alive and well in you. That is a key indicator of the transformation that's currently going on to your electrical system, which, hate to tell you, you're an electrical being. That heart of yours creates an electrical impulse that keeps you alive, keeps everything just pulsing throughout your body, keeps everything just tickety-boo. Pay attention to it. Be grateful for it, even the bad parts. So we talked about the throat activations being a very dominant feature last week. Why? Because we've been biting our tongue. Why? Because we have new truth. Why? Because we don't want to create drama and a confrontation. And you know what? In Sag season, we are lacking a filter. We definitely are. Many of us really just trying to avoid it at all costs. But let me tell you, this week, we have hairballs. Okay? This is not pleasant. It's not a film. It's not a piece of hair. It's nothing really in there. It's literally, we feel the need to hack, okay? We have to hack something up. It's coming from deep in our chest. That's coming with a heart activation because Venus is on point this week before she goes retrograde. But the throat activations, we're going to have a hairball. There's something in there. Yes, there's something in there. There's truth. That's why we're on the battlefield. That's why we're screaming. The anxiety, the restlessness, the nervousness, we can't hold it in. That's going to create physical manifestations that lead us into disease and illness. Dis-ease. When the energy is not balanced, we are setting ourselves up for unbalanced energies. Dis-ease sets in. Speak your truth. Even if your voice shakes, speak it. Even if you have to hack up a hairball before and after, speak it, get it out. So I want to talk about breakouts in our face area. So we were talking about kind of running a little bit hot. Of course, we're in a fire season. There has been temperature fluctuations. We have seen our blood boil on many of occasions. I want to talk about your face kind of being flushed. We talked about it last week. This week, there's more breakouts. And I want you to pay attention where the breakouts are happening. If they're happening on your forehead, around your third eye, that is a good thing. If they're happening on your jawline, this is a hormone disruption, which we are moving into as well, because again, we're reaching the peak where we are about to be reset. Everything is kind of wonky. It's finding its new grounding point. But our face is going to feel like we're wind burnt, okay? And I don't even want to use the word rash because it's not a rash. It's a discoloration. It almost looks like you got slapped across the face or you were out in the cold for a very long time. It's very splotchy. This very discolored, very uneven. Watch for where it is happening, on what area of the face. Get on DuckDuckGo. Go look up Chinese mapping, face mapping. Figure out where in relation to the symptoms that you're having on your face, where it's connected in your physical body. That's where you need to focus on. That's where the energy blockages are. So yeah, we talked about the sinus issues, typical ascension symptom, but one side is going to be clogged over the other. Yes, I'm talking about your nostril. You ever lay down and just wonder how come they decided one should just, go on strike and the other one has to, pull the weight of two? Well, this week we're going to see the dis-ease in our energies, in our third eye coming, the pressure coming in, right? Not only that, we have like liquid snot just coming out of nowhere. I hate to be gross. I hate to talk about mucus. We don't like discharge of any kind, but it's a very real factor of being human. Yes, some of us are in seasonal changes where, snot is more frequent. I just got over 1.5 feet of snow. So yes, being out in the cold, your snot, your mucus changes. This is different though. The light codes coming in from the 1212 altering our information, altering our mental state, altering the light codes inside of us. And of course, we have to get rid of the old ones. How do we do that? We release, we purge. How is it happening? Through snot. Disgusting, but true. So I want to talk about the manifesting just for a second. Now, Mercury moving into Capricorn is a big deal. Now, we should have known up to this point, I've been trying to spark it, even, in our little community here, how much weight and power our words actually have. That's why the throat chakra being activated is so important to speak your truth, because it brings the energy from outside of your body into this physical realm. And we literally give permission for these ideas, for our truth, for whatever it is that we're speaking into existence to actually take form. That's why you have to be careful, not only with what it is that you're focused on, because of course, whatever it is that you're focused on in your mental plane is what it is that you're actually sending out to the universe, putting in your order. That's why you get delivered shitty situations, because you have a shitty negative narrative, right? So when we shift the narrative out of the negative and we shift it into a positive, optimistic kind of narrative, that is the new order that we put into the universe. That is when we get delivered with a situation outside of the negative experiences that we've always had, because we shifted our mind state to a different vibration and frequency in order to put that order into the universe. And of course, once you define the order, the universe delivers. With Mercury moving into Capricorn, the builder, manifestor, creator of the zodiac, very connected to karma, we have to be very careful with our thoughts. We have to be very careful with our words. Where we are currently at in the ascension stage and process, we are in an accelerated manifestation stage. Do not think for 2 seconds that you are not powerful. Do not think for 2 seconds that what it is that you focus on, what it is you speak out of your mouth using your throat chakra isn't going to be created. It's up to you. What is going to manifest? You are the writer, director, producer, star of your own life. Okay? Write the script that best aligns with the experience and the purpose in which you want to fulfill. Be careful, because Mars is going to move into Sag the same day that Mercury moves into Cap. And let me tell you, Mars in Sag is impulsive. No direction. Mars in Sag is on a quest of meaning and truth and purpose, but does not stop long enough to think through carefully of the consequences of one's actions. That's where Mercury in Capricorn comes in. Strategy, planning, logic, practicality, okay? Down to the nitty-gritty bottom basics of what needs to happen. We have to follow a very specific guideline in order to actually see our dreams, our goals, our visions manifest in the right way that does not cause a karmic fallout. We have to be very careful, especially Tuesday, okay? Throwing it out there. Listen to the energy forecast that I put out on a daily, but Tuesday is going to be the breakdown before the breakthrough coming on Wednesday. That's when we boss up. Now, let me tell you, the need to numb, the need to escape our realities is going to reach a peak point here midweek. Please do not turn to drugs and alcohol or prescription drugs or food or work or whatever your vice is in order to numb the kind of feelings that are coming up. Your emotions are the inner compass that your higher self downloaded in your physical avatar in order to lead you back to the power of who it is, source self, that it is that you are, okay? Every single time we get overwhelmed and want to escape our emotions, we are essentially shutting off our emotional compass and then have the audacity to curse our higher selves, our guides, the universe, for putting us in situations that we don't want to be in. Now, whose fault is that? Ours. Why? Because we don't have the emotional intelligence or discipline to focus on what it is that we want. Instead, we just shut it off. We turn to a physical substance, again, created by the darker force energies to keep you out of alignment with your own power. Wake up. Sit in it. Work with it. Our emotions are designed for us to figure this out. It literally is the roadmap to our enlightenment, to our freedom, to returning back to source. So don't numb it, especially Wednesday. Don't numb it. So we have huge insight, huge visions coming. Many of us receiving those clues through our waking state and our sleep state. Again, pay attention to your dream state. Huge indicators, especially, I'm going to say Wednesday, Thursday, and tonight. Pay attention to your dream state and how it starts to mirror or mimic or validate your next week's experiences. Huge prophecy, huge just glimpses of things that are going to make sense later. Okay, they're not going to make sense now. They're going to make sense later. But we're on this drive for meaning. We're on this drive for purpose. Let me tell you, I want you to pay attention to your eyes this week. This week, we're going to be blinking a lot more than we should be. Now, it's not something that you want to control. Just let it happen. But we're blinking because just think of every single time you blink, a new scene appears, a new visual, new details, new information. Well, we're blinking at a very rapid rate, right? We are feeling the pressure coming from outside external influences. Let's put ourselves back on the plane. We're just blinking. We're just trying to get through the experience. We have a mantra. We have a calming voice, internal dialogue in our head, trying to keep us calm. Even when the turbulence comes up, we're just blinking. We're looking out the window. We're looking at, the map. We're looking at everything else. We're blinking. We're blinking. We're taking in information. The more we blink, the more information we're taking in. Don't stop it. But just realize that our eyes are going to need a little bit more moisture. So if you can get some artificial tears, preferably preservative free, you want to make sure they're lubed up and ready to go because they're going to be working overtime this week. We talked about the temperature. I just want to throw in here, we have a fire starter energy coming, especially Thursday into Friday. That is when we move into the full moon in Gemini window. Of course, we're in Sag season. We have the air energy from Gemini, the fire energy from Sag season. What happens when air and fire get together? Well, we could have a very, very beautiful, helpful, warming fire of passion, of motivation, of ideas, of energy, or we could have a wildfire. Right? We don't want to do that. Again, another huge lesson in energy management. Friday, in particular, pay attention to your heart chakra. This is why the deep coughs are coming up. This is why the mucus is trying to get expelled. We're expanding our chest, expanding our heart chakras. Venus and Chiron do a little bit of an interesting little switcheroo here. Venus goes retrograde, Chiron comes direct. They're switching roles. We have our spiritual warrior coming out to fight for us. That's that Chiron energy. We have Venus moving inward to reorganize her meaning, her worth, her values. There is a lot to purge. And this is coming from the form of coughing. This is coming in the form of mucus being expelled. We just went through some very serious solar plexus activations. Changing direction with meaning, with purpose, with a quest for new truths, new experiences. This is all the physical symptoms of the energetic enlightenment that we're going through. Again, please understand, not only is the full moon in Gemini putting us at odds with ourselves, with extreme ways of thinking, our heart versus our head, it's also adding to the division that we're currently seeing with us and other people. And of course, that division is being amplified on the the global stage right now, the great grand stage of humanity, because we're being torn apart. The two dimensions are being torn apart. 3D world away from 5D world. Split is coming on the 21st. So don't be overwhelmed when you feel at odds with yourself. Use the very extreme dualistic perspectives and thoughts and feelings within you to find a common ground. That's where your power is at. So we are going to have these very beautiful moments, either through meditation or just a Zen state or being aligned, mind, body, and soul, especially when the 12-12 Merkaba field gets activated, aligning and unifying mind, body, and soul. We're going to have severe moments of peace. This is the light beings, the higher intellect light beings letting us know that we're on the right track, that we have nothing to fear because the war has already been won. Revel, sit, and relish in those peaceful moments. Take a snapshot of them, stick them in an imaginary jar, put them in your pocket for later, because when things get dark, and they will get dark again, you can pull that little jar off and kind of sniff it in, huff it. Huff those moments of peace. Bring that idealistic energy back in you in the moments of weakness. Things are happening very fast, and because of that, yes, we're going to continue to lose track of time. Yes, we're going to feel like we're living in a different place, a different reality. We're going to feel like the weirdos. We're going to feel like the outcasts. We are the weirdos. We are the outcasts. We are the warriors. That we are here on the battlefield ready to fight for humanity. That's what we've been doing. That's what we're going to continue doing. So we're going to feel this surge of energy. I want you to pay attention to your back. So last week we talked about the energy moving up through our spinal cords and having like some back activations, cracking, popping. This week, I don't know if you're going to have a rash or itchiness or breakouts, maybe pimples, something, heat rash. There's going to be some kind of skin ailment in your back region to let you know where the energy is trapped. Pay attention to that. The digestion issues, they're not as bad, I will say that, but we are on an airplane. Many of us in a state of anxiety want to eat everything in order to ground, in order to calm. Many of us in a state of anxiety don't want to eat at all, depriving ourselves of the physical energy, life force that our bodies need in order to be well. So again, another lesson in energy management, the energy that we're bringing into our physical forms and how it is that we're using that mind, body, and soul. We talked about the hormone fluctuations. We're reaching a time, the ending point, the brand new beginning point, where we have to kind of find a new grounding point, a new solid point. That is why the hormone fluctuations are happening. Doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, they're going to happen. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel the rage. You're going to feel the sadness. You're going to feel the excitement. You're going to feel all kinds of tingly sensations in your physical form. And you're going to see the evidence of those fluctuations on breakouts on your chin line, like we talked about earlier. Now, one thing I want to address, and I am going to wrap it up. I'm talking way too much. I apologize. My voice is going to really, suffer for it later, but whatever. I have a lot to say this week. So we've been talking about blood, and the blood goes back to Scorpio season. It was a purification process. We're coming into Sag season. We have fire in our blood right now, trying to purify our blood. I've had many people, especially women, reach out about their menstrual cycles. Now, let me tell you, jabbed or unjabbed, I don't care. Let's not get into it. Everybody is down for a detox. If you check my menu link, my link tree, down at the bottom, I put 2 different links. One to TRS spray. It's a detox spray. It binds with all the heavy metals in your body. It cleans out parasites. It purifies your organs for detox processes. I also put a link in there for herbal teas and tinctures, okay? We have to go back to alternative medicine. This is the only way that our body is going to respond in a line. Please, please, please consider a detox, especially if you are jabbed, okay? You have nanomedical particles in you, okay? You have gunk in you that really shouldn't be there. It is not organic. Whether it's a good thing to have the vaccine or not, that's not what we're talking about. What I'm saying to you is everybody is scheduled for a detox. Get on it. Figure out a way that works best for you. Use the products that are healthiest for you. For those of you that want to know what I use, those are the 2 that I use. Go check out the websites. Just align with getting your body, your mind, your spirit all in alignment, especially as we move into 2022. So you'll see that the blood issue is linked to us needing a detox, us needing to purify our blood. You will find helpful remedies in my link tree. The last thing that I want to talk about is the weight of the world now moving down into our wrists. We're going to have wrist cracking, okay? Elbow popping, shoulder pain, constant need to crack your back. Now, again, we talked about last week, the energy, the Kundalini, whatever it is that you want to call it, whatever it is that you feel good labeling it, coming up through Jacob's ladder, which essentially is the 33 vertebrae that we have in our spinal cord. Why is it doing that? Because it links us to the earth. It comes up through our physical form, comes up through the spinal column, comes up in the base of our neck, and pops off, opening up our crown, opening up our third eye, and literally leaving our physical forms and connecting us back to the higher intelligence source in which we came from. So please, please do yoga, stretch it out, do what you can, take the cues from your body and help the energy move through. Okay, guys, I got to wrap it up. I'm going to end it here. I hope that that was helpful. I hope that that gave you some validation. Definitely drop a comment below if you're on tune with us, if you're in alignment, if you got some weird things going on, if you have any questions. This community is here to help and support and validate. So anything you got to say, any questions you have, drop it in the comments below. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, not just for me, not just for the community, but showing up for yourself. This is a huge time for us to evolve, to reach the next level of awareness and enlightenment. And showing up here every Friday in order to connect with like-minded people is giving yourself, your soul, mind, body, and soul, every dimension of you, the validation and the support and the encouragement that you need in order to keep on fighting. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful week. I'm sending you nothing but love. And I'll talk to you soon.